Well, first off, this is going to be a little bit late on the reviews. Let's kind of make it a little bit better. First off, happy Halloween out there. And it's the first of the month. And I am the icon Sting. And welcome to my TNA Impact Wrestling review. Week 4 of the World Title Series, folks. Back in action once again, and once again, the main event tonight will be Awesome Kong versus Gail Kim in the group knockout series, which they will get the main event spot, which was pretty cool. As the Pope and Josh Matthews talked about Bound for Glory with their match and how they would reface each other tonight. And they pretty much went on. The toughest group is group champions right now. How Mr. Anderson was eliminated, and how EC3 and Lashley's match went last week. As EC3 went on an interview talking about pretty much he had testicular fortitude and he beat him, and saying that everyone is a joke because he's gonna carpe those nuts because he carpe them joke. And then he pretty much went on to read and pretty much says he has the opportunity now. Matt Hardy went against Robbie E, which is a really good match, and Robbie E is not really being, bromance anymore. It's actually being more towards a serious wrestler. Matt still got the win, but he showed him respect after the match. So, I gotta say Robbie E may be going somewhere. Gail Kim was interviewed about, losing to Brooke last week, and now she's gonna be facing Awesome Kong next, and she's gonna be the better woman against Kong tonight. So, Kong tonight, so that was gonna go down. And they pretty much played video packages of Awesome Kong and Gail Kim throughout their battles throughout the years. So yeah, I think it was really good they even got the main event slot for the knockouts. You don't really see a lot of women get the main event on women's wrestling shows, unless you're in NXT, of course. But TNA, they've always had the knockouts. They've always had a lot of credibility to them. They've always had a lot, they've always came off as, better women's wrestlers than the WWE Divas, which you have the NXT women compete with now. So the Divas really don't mean anything that much, but, the knockouts have always been the shit throughout the years. Matt Hardy was talking about Robbie E's match, and, he's taking Robbie E more seriously, but he still picked up the win, but he respected him now. Robbie E says he's surprised by the loss, but he gained the respect of Matt Hardy tonight, slowly but surely. And that's why he's proud to be in the tag team specialist group. You gotta take yourself to the limit and everything. As Hardy went back to talking, Grado came in and had subtitles, which pretty much he wanted a selfie with Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy went in and just did his version 1v1 pose with Grado's face being knocked out of it. As pretty much Grado was gonna go against Drew Galloway. As they showed a video of that. As Drew Galloway went against Grado, he was trying to get Grado to open, show some fire, enough of the silliness, he says. As pretty much Galloway was dominating the match until Grado kind of, fired back up to come at him. And it was a pretty much, it was really good. Galloway still picked up the win with the Claymore, he calls now, with that running kick move. So he called it the Claymore now, and pretty much, he showed him respect after that. But Grado, he kind of had a little bit of credibility tonight going against Drew Galloway, since I guess Galloway, quote-unquote, woke him up and, tried to get some fire in the dude to get him to go somewhere. But, Galloway still picked up the match and got the 3 points, moving on in the World Title Series. They also pretty much went on about Aiden O'Shea versus Crazy Steve, which this match didn't really go nowhere since of Crazy Steve's clown antics, throughout the whole match. Aiden O'Shea still won, so he picked up the win, even though most of the time I hear, he's from the south side of Chicago, with an Irish heritage and stuff. But O'Shea pretty much still won with a clothesline and, moved on. They interviewed Muhammad Ashira. That was, talking about he's got to go against he's got to still fight because, TNA's coming to India and everything, so they pretty much went to talk on that. and how he's in the World Title Series, and very, expect to say he wants to win and everything, and bring the title back to his home country. Which this interview was pretty good since they interviewed him over there, and it wasn't much of the silliness that he usually does. Abyss cut a promo on James Storm, that the TNA originals are a dying breed, which is really true. They are really a dying breed when you look who's there in TNA and what originals that are still there in that. And talked about he didn't need the Revolution. He didn't need Storm in his Revolution. He just needs gold, he says. And he pretty much went on to talk about he was going to destroy James Storm tonight, as he talked about a video package of him and James Storm, as James Storm went on through his success of being tag team champions of Beer Money and becoming the world heavyweight champion and stuff. Abyss pretty much led a destruction path to everybody he knew, and won titles throughout his career. As I guess throughout the match, it pretty much went into Storm versus Abyss then, which it's kind of now out of watching James Storm on both two shows now, since he's now on NXT and still on TNA Wrestling. As he went on to talk to Abyss, yes, we are a dying breed, he says. We are TNA originals. We're here to entertain and stuff. But he says Abyss was smarter than he looked and stuff. He pretty much went on to say, like, yeah, this is the Impact Zone, he said. And the smart thing to do is let, Storm win by countout. Since he was trying to, be more the cowboy James Storm tonight. And people kept trying to boo him. They went on chatting cowboy and everything. Storm pretty much, Abyss pretty much went on to say, he took the mic from him and says, I'm a 6'8" weapon of mass destruction, he says. As pretty much he then hit Storm. Then Storm tried to beg, but Abyss pretty much went in on him throughout the match, which they pretty much had a good match. Kind of coming toward the end most of the time. They kept hitting finisher after finisher. Storm was able to get a beer bottle and tried to hit Abyss with it, but the ref took it. He spat beer in Abyss's face. Pretty much in the last call super kick. Didn't even sell it. And then hit another super kick after falling off the ropes. Pretty much hitting that second one, winning the match and picking up the 3 points. So they pretty much had a good match, Abyss and Storm, since Abyss was more of a monster out there tonight. Everybody thought this match was gonna suck, because I guess it's just Abyss nowadays and he's not doing nothing but grabbing the Janus weapon every time he gets. But it didn't go on like that this time, and it was pretty much an advantage, for Storm getting the win, picking up the 3 points. Sure, a lot of people say it's not going to mean that much anymore, but like I said, he's in both shows. What are you going to do? He still had a good match on Impact against Abyss, so I'm not mad at that. They pretty much went in on to also talk about, went back to Mahara Shira, pretty much talking about all the guys he's with in the group wildcard. Say O'Shea is a big and loud man. Kenny King is he's very good, and that Crazy Steve is funny. Pretty much talking about his competition, and he's a lifeline now. He said he shows something that the other guys don't show. Since he's from India and stuff, so he's showing like more of a passion or some type of thing he's going along with. So they still did a good interview with those guys. Tigre Uno when he didn't see my eye on. Pretty much a basic X Division match, I'll say that. DJZ picking up 3 points, which is very surprising since he's been on the lowest card of this whole thing between him and Mandrews there. But he picked up the win, beating them. So he pretty much picked up a win over Tigre Uno. And as we move on throughout the show, they also talked about next week's groups that are going to be competing in matches between each other throughout the World Title Series. And they pretty much went on to Gail versus Awesome Kong, calling them both legends, which they had a really good match, better than their Bound for Glory match. And it was really enjoyable and fun to watch. So they went on for a good while. They main evented the show, so I'm not. I was never gonna be mad. Surprised they didn't have a good match in that, but they had a really good match, better than the Bound for Glory match they had. They were running out of time. Gail Kim tried to go for Eat the Feet. Kong went for a power bomb, but pretty much Gail Kim reversed it, rolled her up, and got the pin over Awesome Kong, then winning the match. So once again, both women had a really great match. Hey, they main evented Impact, so I'm not even mad at that either. I thought that was pretty cool. It could have been more hype to it, but hey, The match was great, was what it was. If you didn't see it, go back and check it out. So yeah, it was a pretty good show. Had a lot of great matches for the World Title Series. I believe we're in week 4 of this now, I believe. So hey, we're still getting there, folks, and probably see some more eliminations next week when the matches keep going on. But I'm out of here. I'll see you guys later. Peace. Make sure you check out more news and reviews. So I'm out of here.